We continue this morning to remember our friend Chuck Leonard, the television legend, and a lot of folks heard Chuck on the radio too. Wes Carroll's with us now, and you're a longtime radio host, podcaster here in the city, and tell us about your relationship with Chuck. How'd you get to know Chuck?
So, I first met him, I was a kid. He was doing a lot. He did a lot in the community. I mean, that part of this job as broadcasters is, they like us to be out in the community.
Yeah.
And Chuck was certainly one of those guys. I think he probably enjoyed it more than any of us. He just liked talking to people. He's a storyteller and just loved to be out. And I met him as a kid. He was working at some event. I was probably 8 or 9. Back then he had a beard and I didn't. And a lot of people forget that that's for a long time he worked with a beard. I know the photos you guys are running showing that, but
it was a really good beard.
It was
too.
a good beard.
Yeah,
it was a quality beard.
Iconic beard. Yeah.
Yes. And he was just one of those people that in meeting him as a kid at one of these events, it certainly would have been something that would have shaped me a little bit. There's a handful of guys around here. My old radio partner, Scott Miller, was one of those guys. These people that have that influence on you that make you want to do this. They weren't the sole reason. Also a storyteller, also someone who likes to talk, likes to make people laugh. You chase those dopamine hits where you can get them, right? And, Chuck would have had an influence on me with that. And then I started working in TV in '94 and doing a show where my first guest on the show was Dan Brennan, who was the morning show host on Sunny 100 back then, and he and Chuck did the show together. He did the news with Dan and then some different hits. And I sort of did the show. Dan was like, you should come work with us at Sunny. Like, you're a radio guy, you should do this.
Yeah, what are you doing over here on TV?
And he just said, you remind me of me when I was younger. And that's a huge compliment. Dan also just one of those greats for Columbus. And that was like the #1 show at the time, probably in radio for at Sunny 100. Anyway, so I got to know Chuck just through that because I would do, part-time. I would come in. Back when there were people in radio stations answering phones.
Yeah.
I was there overnight and I would finish my show and then I would get to see those two interacting on the morning show.
Uh-huh.
And it was fun because, Dan sometimes would give Chuck a little dare, right? So Chuck would, to give the full behind the scenes for people that don't know, you guys have like a studio, a little booth here. Chuck would go into the booth and he would they would send the signal over, Dan would record it, and he would play it, for the news cuts. A little different than how you guys do it now for radio.
Yeah.
Similar, but a little different. And then they could also communicate with each other, through that. And then Chuck would go in whenever he had a moment during a commercial break. He would pop in, they would interact. But it was those just few minutes before Dan's show started at 6 and the news started at 6 here that they would have a little interaction. And Dan would give him a dare. Hey, I dare you to touch the co-anchor's hair. And Chuck was, I can't do that. Come on. And then the news would start, and it would just be like, good morning, I'm Chuck Leonard. The other person would say, I'm whoever the host was. And oh, your hair looks nice today.
A nice caress.
It's just a little gentle touch, and and it would just make me laugh. And then my favorite one of all the dares, Dan said, I'm going to give him a hard one this morning. And he said, I dare you to clean your glasses on camera. And Chuck said, I can't do that. There's people watching. I can't do that. And he's, chicken, you can't do it. So sure enough, news starts. There's Chuck, and I'm Chuck Leonard. And he looks at the camera, and he just goes, takes his glass. He never breaks. He's right on the camera, cleans his glasses, puts them back on. And we're just howling on our end, of course.
And the fact that he would roll with it, too. Yeah,
and just do it. And we thought, he shouldn't have done it. Like, there's no way he should have done it. And then, got to know him really kind of through that and, really get to know him. And he's one of those guys that, everybody was his friend. Everybody, he made you feel that way. And when you really get to know him and there's a point you get to with it where you go, wow, I'm friends with this broadcast legend guy, and it just had such a great influence on me as far as career. Another quick story, and I started in like October on Sunny, so Christmas rolled around and Christmas music. And I was, still a teenager, no real life experience, of course, or very little. And they gave me the assignment of putting the Christmas lights up outside our building on all the trees outside.
Nice.
It was like, could
Yeah.
you put all these lights up? And I didn't know what to do. I'd
The
put
agile young guy that can climb a ladder.
We'll
Yeah.
get him to do that. So I made this huge mess. The lights were tangled. I couldn't get them untangled. They were all over the place. Some of the trees had lights. I did it as long, and I'm new to this. I want them to say, wow, this guy got it done. And of course, to them, it was nothing. Go out and run some lights, and it's done. But I just made this huge mess. And I left a note in the lobby at the desk for whoever assigned me to do it. I fought the lights, and the lights won. Chuck thought that was the funniest thing ever.
That is pretty funny.
It got to him.
Yeah.
He shared that story a number of times, and that, I think, was the point where like the switch flipped for us.
Yeah.
And we were then colleagues, we were friends, all those things. And, you know, if I could make him laugh, again, dopamine hits, right?
Yeah.
If I could make him laugh, he would try to make me laugh. We had a real dark sense of humor. People who really got to know Chuck knew that he had a dark sense of humor, a little twisted sometimes. And, you know, we enjoyed that about each other.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the things that I would say, I used to come in and do like a TV and movie correspondent, like entertainment correspondent here, you know, many times. And if I could make Chuck laugh on that segment, you know, it was like, there's my little dopamine hit. And then years later, he would bring up, hey, you remember when you said this? And I'm like, I don't, but I'm glad that you did. Because a lot of those jokes you just don't remember.
You talk about that, Chuck's dark sense of humor. What always cracked me up about him, I would call him a connoisseur of death, because every year he would play this game online.
Yes.
There's a website, I think it's called stiffs.com. So you go through and you pick out your, how many?
I think it's 5. I think there's 5 or 7.
I was like maybe 10.
Oh, is it 10?
The celebrities that you thought were going to die that year. And so Chuck would, every year he would tell me, it was a couple of years ago, it was probably like 2021 or so, or something. We're eating lunch one day, and he's like, my list is doing really well on stiffs.com. I have a chance to win. And I'm like, wow, what is that?
Yeah, and it's like, well, what do you win? Exactly. And do you win?
But he thought that was...
He did.
He thought that was one of the coolest things was, you know...
and it wasn't my thing, but he would always share it with me, and I just thought it was, you know, funny that he was that into it.
I feel like I got to play now in his memory.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do, and my brother and I started this. It's so silly, but it's a trolling thing online that we do, where we take a famous person dies, and we make a little memorial to them, but we use the wrong picture, like a different person in it. And to us, it's funny because we're the idiots, right? We're the ones who get the story wrong. We're not making fun of the person that died. To us, it's just funny because, and it started when like Gary Coleman died. We used a picture of Emmanuel Lewis. And we just thought that would be funny. Those are two guys that would have gotten mixed up. And, you know, we've been doing that, you know, since then, years. And Chuck always thought those were funny. Every now and then he would tell me, like, you probably should have used this person. And I was like, okay, Chuck, we're not on the death watch on your in your game. So, but no, it was that sort of humor and that sort of, you know, kind of dark humor that, you know, you connect with somebody on that, and then you're stuck with it. And so, and the fact that, you know, he was, you know, you do this job, you're perceived a certain way from doing this job, and then you, you know, do something kind of outside of it, and you know, because he did, I co-wrote a play once that was at the Liberty Theater, and when we were working on it, we got Chuck cast to play one of the roles, and it's like, we got to write something good for Chuck. Like, we have to make sure that we just get some gold for him. And, you know, it was that sort of challenge to it. And he was up for whatever. I mean, you know, you want to hear the first time I saw Chuck with his shirt off? I mean,
Fire away.
It's like you got those kind of stories where it's just, and I was doing the TV show that I mentioned. We were doing a promo for that, and we wanted to get you know, someone to come in sort of while we were cutting these promos, and we got Chuck to come in to do that, and he was just game. It was like, sure, you know, what do you need me to do? So we got in, we set up, and we thought it'd be a funny bit if we had some reason in this promo that Chuck would take his shirt off. So we shot him from here up as he's taking his shirt off, and then we cut to another guy who was a little more chiseled. Not hard to get there, but a little more chiseled just from the neck down.
Yeah.
And then we had the idea of, well, what if we draw him a WTVM 9, like he had a tattoo on his. And Chuck was there. He's in. Let's do it. You know, no hesitation.
Yeah.
He got the bit and anything for a laugh, and so it's that kind of humor that you just go, this is my guy.
Yeah.
This is my friend.
Back to his radio days. I mean, I've heard some of the stuff that they put out when he was at WKMX down in Enterprise, Alabama. And that's from, the 70s. And so the guy that was his co-host, a guy named Connor Vernon, always said, he said, Chuck Leonard is hilarious and one of the most talented people you'd ever meet.
Yeah.
Could work in Los Angeles if he wanted to. He just loves Columbus.
Yeah.
He's good there.
And there's a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
And, I mentioned Scott Miller earlier. That's two guys that could have gone to big markets and just didn't. They loved it being here. You know, Scott's celebrating 50 years of doing Columbus State sports.
Wow.
50 years.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And, you know, I used to remind him regularly, like, you were starting and I was in diapers. Just, you know, when you got like, thanks. But, yeah, I mean, and that says a lot about, you know, this community and what it means to Scott, what it meant to Chuck. And we're just blessed for, you know, having that kind of talent here for as long as we did. And you talk about radio stuff. Chuck, one of the things I would love is he would, and I mean, even when I was working, when I stopped working at Sunny 100 and I was working at, you know, one of the other stations I was at, he would call and he would do this character. There was this woman that he would do, and it was just this voice, and his name was Ellery Ledford from the Winton area. And he would call in that character, and I knew at first, the years that I'd heard him doing it, I didn't know it was him when I would hear it on there.
Yeah.
But then when he started calling me, and I realized, wait a minute, this is Chuck. And then he would do, and I was at, you know, WDAK, and he would call in, and I'm like, Chuck, you know, we're not like recording these to play them back on the. He's like, I don't know, it's just old habit. But it's just great. And I mean, there were other characters that he did as well, but you know, that was the one that always stood out. Ellery Ledford from the Winton area, and it was just, you know, so talented, so many things, quick-witted. And you knew when you bumped into him out in public, you were going to be talking to him for a while.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And, you know, and again, our love of storytelling, you know, we both were kind of bouncing off of each other. He would ask you a question, and you knew he was asking you the question because he had something like that he was going to talk about.
Lead in, yeah.
And it would be, you know, what is your favorite movie? And then you would say it, and then he would tell you for 20 minutes something about his favorite movie, you know, and you're like, this is where this is going.
Yeah.
That's the reason for did I even need to answer? Could I have said, but, you know, you just like hearing him talk. And whatever he was going to tell you about his favorite movie or song or, you know, whatever, or TV show, it was going to be great. You're going to hear something, you know, and that was always great. And, you know, I just miss that. I already miss it. You know, I miss knowing that he's not there.
And real active guy on social media. It was not hard to get in touch with Chuck.
That's true.
If you wanted to reach out to him.
I would also say this, just, you know, he takes a little flack because in the last few years it was a lot of negativity on social media. And I could just attest to this in that, you know, you do a job like this for a long time.
Yeah.
You're used to having an audience. You're used to having that interaction when you go out in public. You're used to having, you know, you go out, you see, especially, you know, you TV guys. Us radio guys, we get hide sometimes. You know, we're not always as long as we're not talking.
Yeah, they do. The voice comes out, then it's over with.
We may not get recognized. But that changed a little bit in more recent times where, you know, people could see you on social media and find you. But Chuck would he would complain, it seems like a lot. And I feel like it was sort of, he retired.
Yeah.
And he didn't have that he didn't have the audience. He didn't have the interaction. He didn't have the, you know, that with people. And you know, it's kind of like in an office situation. If everybody doesn't like the boss, they all like each other. Or, you know.
Yeah.
And if there's something to complain about, you can usually connect with somebody on that. Hey, it was a bad call in the football game, or they didn't give me enough ketchup at the fast, which was a common one for Chuck. And I remember he posted something probably back in March about, he started a post with, "I'm not one to complain, but
Chuck, let's get serious here."
You kind of are. And we had him on one of my podcasts, like, because of that. We were talking about him, and I said, you know what, I sent Chuck a text, and I was like, "You want to jump in this? We're talking about you." And he said, "Sure, absolutely." And he was, ready like that to just jump right in the flow of what we were doing, and it was live. Now, I did not warn him that while we were only recording audio, we did have video. When we do this particular show, there's multiple people, and we want to be able to see each other so that we're reacting to each other. And so we hit him on a video, and he doesn't have a shirt on. So that's the second time. No 9 tattoo that time. That would have been scary if he still had the 9 tattoo.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Shirtless Chuck Leonard.
But he just jumped right in, and it was funny, and it was great. This was like back in March when we did this, and I think that episode was called, Chuck Leonard's not one to complain.
But
I get it. Again, it's sort of that, it's a little bit of that fix, because I know he missed this. He missed, once you retire, it's a little different.
I'm glad that he got to retire, though, and I'm a big proponent of that. I want folks to get their flowers, you know what I'm saying? And so, I was happy to see, Nick Saban retire and get his flowers. Chuck Leonard, one of those, from a more local standpoint, you don't always get to choose that in this business, and Chuck did, and I thought that was really neat. And he got to live a little bit of retirement life, 6 years, but that was a cool time for him when he did step away. What was your perspective of that time frame when he announced he was retiring?
And just a little bit on, there are a lot of people that got that chance to do that around here, and I wondered for a long time, would Chuck kind of be the last one that really got a chance to do that?
I hope not. I hope he's not.
No, and I hear you. And I worked in a studio with somebody who did not, and it broke my heart that he did not.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it is, because he deserved it. He earned it. And and while Scott is not retired, he's still working. But from doing a morning show on a news talk radio station for a long time, and and I just thought, man, it devastated me for him for that. And I was glad for Chuck. And I feel like there's a few that are probably getting close to that point, now, that may get their chance, and I hope so. It's you want to have that, but Chuck. Like I said, he was in that. I just feel like, we didn't talk about it, but I just feel like he got to that point where, in being retired, I know he missed that interaction, and he missed all those things with people. And so I tried to cut him some slack when he was, really vocal about things, because you understand.
I don't think he missed getting up early, though.
No.
People ask me all the time, they're like, "How long did it take you to acclimate back to a regular sleep schedule?" I'm like, yesterday.
And I
can do it right now.
I remember when I started with Scott, one of the first mornings, and I said, "How long does it take to get used to this?" And he just laughed. he's like, "I'll let you know."
You don't,
He's like, I don't have a clue. I mean, I still do it. I do a morning, podcast every day, so I still get up, but I don't have to commute.
Yeah.
I don't have to shower if I don't want to.
It's a little different, walking down the hall as opposed to going across town. Yeah,
that's right. Studio at home makes a really big difference with it. But no, I'm sure he didn't miss the early mornings. No one would.
Threw the alarm clock in the trash, and so. Well, listen, we appreciate you so much for coming by today.
Yeah, no.
Thank you so much.
Happy to talk about. I thought you were going to Barbara Walters me, man. I still haven't. The emotions have not fully hit me on all of this. And I think it's just the holidays and finishing the Nutcracker, and we missed you at the Nutcracker.
Yeah, I was. Let me tell you, I was happy to do it last year. My wife likes to tell me that I can't dance, so I know my lane and stick to it. But she danced my wife did ballet for like 17 years, long time.
Yeah.
She was never in the Nutcracker, and I was.
And you were.
So.
And now you've seen me on stilts,
Yeah.
in the dress as Mother Ginger in the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did Chuck ever make fun of you for that?
no.
No.
No. Well, and Chuck wouldn't have been able to do it. You know, I don't know if his leg has come up, but you know, he had
Yeah.
a prosthetic
Oh
leg.
yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, and I got stories about that too. But do you count what I do as dancing as Mother Ginger?
It is choreographed.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean I would
not
say
twirl.
Yeah,
You know.
on stilts. Yeah,
On
I would say it's dancing.
Yeah, there's a challenge to it.
Yeah.
Did your wife? Would she have? I'll have to get you to tell me if she.
I think she complimented you very well last year.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so we watched. I did my part, and then I went out and.
That's right. You were
watched.
first act, and I
Yeah,
was second.
so I'm done pretty
First
quick.
act is kind of setting the table, and then second act we got to go out and eat.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of that's the thing, which you guys did a great job of setting.
Hopefully Barbara and I said it well.
You
last
did.
year.
You did.
So,
Yeah.
But it was fun though. The Columbus Symphony Orchestra. I hope I'm saying that right. And all of you involved with that, like, just a phenomenal production.
And there's not many Nutcracker shows anywhere that still use a live orchestra. So
Yeah,
Paul Hofstetter and a lot of the, yeah.
That's remarkable. And bringing our friend Chuck into this, those were the type things that he was very proud of in this community
Yeah.
too. Is that Columbus is a small town, big city.
It is.
And when you got stuff like that, I mean, he would tell me when I was moving up here in the process of it, he was like, "Oh, you're gonna love it here. There's always something going on." So and he mentioned River Center and things that happen down there, and I think it's pretty cool. And the Nutcracker's a big part of that too.
Yeah. And he gave an endorsement for you getting here too. Right?
Yeah, he's the reason I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
and my friend Jessie, who worked with me in radio and podcasting, and she's here partly, I guess, largely because of Chuck's endorsement here.
Pretty
as far
much,
as working behind the scenes with you guys.
Cheryl also got the Chuck Leonard endorsement.
See, that's three people that we're all blessed to have you guys because is working here and in this community because of him, and that's one of the great things. It's like a coaching family tree.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It's and that impact that he's had on that and future broadcasters here, because you guys are now doing that for the next people are waking up to you in the mornings.
And hopefully we treat them right like Chuck Leonard did to us too. So.
Yeah. So, thought you were going to Barbara Walters me, man. I thought this is where the emotions are going to hit me in here.
Well, I try not to. It's. I do want to give you a chance before you go. You tell us what Chuck means to you, and
Chuck was a friend.
Don't get Waterworks cranked up, because then
hey,
it might happen for me
I'm
too.
sure you've had a few in the chair. I think Cheryl told me she got emotional over you, but just a friend. A bit of a not so much a mentor, but certainly someone who had that influence on me to get into broadcasting. He was a pro, and a pro's pro at that. And when you see someone who is doing a job and doing it at a high level and enjoying themselves doing it and enjoying aspects of it, you appreciate it, and it's going to have that impact. It makes you enjoy it. And like they say, if you enjoy your job, it's not really work.
Yeah.
And I know for him it was. I just remember being in here, in the studio with him, and he would finish and he'd go to a commercial, and then he's writing down all the counties in Georgia from memory or something, and you're just like, what are you? But that was just how his brain didn't shut off.
Yeah, just for fun. Yeah.
And just for fun, and those sorts of things that. And so he just a good friend, and again the dark humor I'll miss. And it'll be hard pressed for me. We thought, we have to make a celebrity death with him. Would he have appreciated us doing that?
So I thought about that. It was like, surely Chuck didn't put himself on the list.
Surely not. Surely not. So
no, I honestly think it caught him by surprise. As it did all of us.
Yeah,
and
it really did.
It happened so quickly. But Yeah, so I'm glad that we were able to let some folks in on his dark sense of humor.
Yeah, well, I got plenty more stories. You probably don't have time, but I got plenty more of those stories, and lots of great stories involving his leg too.
Yeah.
I know he infamously would just drop something on his foot, or he would hang it in the back of the car, going down the road like it was a coat. I mean, just those kinds of things that you hear those stories, and it's just like, yeah, that was him.
I hope it makes an appearance at his service. Maybe just post it up at the front. In January.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
it would be nice.
We'll have to relay that to Carol.
We'll
see if she's game for it. Wes Carroll, we appreciate you, man. Thank you
brother.
so much.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back to